So today I'll be highlighting the dangers of using permanent hair dye. I have personally never dyed my hair, but when I would go to the salon to get my hair cut, I always wonder what that putrid smell is when someone next to me is dyeing their hair. It's horrible. So for a few weeks I got curious about it and started looking into it, and I just wanted to see what the majority of hair dyes had in them. I'm sure we all know someone who has dyed their hair, or you personally dye your hair yourself. If you do use permanent hair dyes, you're familiar with that distinctive smell or the burning sensation or irritation during the application of the hair dye. We may try to overlook these chemicals that we do put in our hair and focus on the more glamorous results. But as consumers, we need to be more knowledgeable on what exactly is safe and unsafe for our hair. Today I will discuss how permanent hair dyes are dangerous to your hair, health, and body. First of all, permanent hair dyes are dangerous to your hair because the harmful chemicals of ammonia. Ammonia is used in hair dyes to swell the shaft of the hair.
PC. No, on the control panel.
Ammonia is where the horrible smell comes from, and is used in hair dyes to swell the hair shaft and force hair dyes to swell the hair shaft and force scales of the shaft to slightly separate. So here's the healthy hair before it has ever been dyed, and then after a while it starts to damage the hair shaft. These are the hair shafts that are separating, and that's where the hair dye is entered into the hair. Repeatedly dyeing your hair with permanent hair dyes that contain ammonia will soon damage the hair cuticle. Ammonia is a corrosive chemical. Ammonia will wear away the hair shaft, and the hair strands are less able to withstand stress such as simple combing of the hair, and the hair will most likely break, or can also cause baldness, or from the scalp, or also some people get it like her, she's kind of forming or getting bald right there from the peroxide or the ammonia. And also they can also lose hair on the scalp, or where you part your hair. Permanent hair dyes can also be dangerous to your body, and chemical that is also in most permanent hair dyes is called paraphenyldiamine, or PPD, which it's known as, is in our hair dyes to make the dye more natural looking. Although it does make it more natural looking, the chemical is what causes some to have allergic reactions. What the product doesn't tell you is that PPD does not react the first time you use the product. Usually they have an allergic, usually each product has, caution. You need to test for allergic reaction within 48 hours. You just test the spot. Whereas they don't tell you that PPD is something that occurs over time. You may use the chemical 4 or 5 times, and in the 5th time, say, you will get an allergic reaction. Like 55-year-old Susan Taylor has bought the same hair dye since she could remember, and got an allergic reaction to that same hair dye that she's used forever. She ended up hospitalized because her head was twice its size and feared that she would choke on her own swollen tongue. So this is a girl, not the same lady, but a similar story where she received took that allergy test, but it didn't. Within the 5th time, it didn't work for her, and so she became very allergic to the dye, and she survived, but they both survived. Sorry. Lastly, permanent hair dye could be dangerous to our health. Lead acetate is a chemical that is mostly used in dark-colored permanent hair dyes. Lead acetate is a possible chemical that may cause bladder cancer. In 2001, the School of Medicine of the University of Southern California discovered that lead acetate has been found to cause cancer in experimental animals. This has not yet been finalized since the study needs more experimental time. Ming Yu, a USC professor of preventive medicine, says our study is the first to demonstrate a frequency and duration-dependent association between personal use of permanent hair dye and bladder cancer risk. Our novel observations are proactive and carry enormous public health implications. One should bear in mind, however, that these findings require confirmation before such exposure can be regarded as casual factors in bladder cancer development. Another potential danger is women using dye while they're pregnant. Kaiser Permanente says that pregnant women who are exposed to lead acetate can pass the chemical to her fetus through the placenta and possibly lead to a miscarriage or the child may have delayed development. We do not know if lead acetate is as dangerous as it seems, but it is something to be aware of until it is proven to be good or bad. I have highlighted for you the main dangers of using permanent hair dye that can harm your hair, your body, and your health. Many consumers want to look their best and boost their self-esteem. It is vital, however, that we know what the risks are in using chemicals on our bodies and that we make an effort to be informed so that decisions we make now will not be damaging to our health in the future.
All right, Carissa, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. It accomplished the goal of being informative. I actually learned something that I didn't know, that the short-term warnings don't tell you about the long-term effects and how you can suddenly develop an allergic reaction to dye. The visuals were really clear and illustrated what she was talking about. They weren't off or odd. They actually had something to do with what she was sharing with us, so that was good too. The words that I probably would not know how to pronounce, she pronounced, they flowed very nicely, so it's obviously you practiced that, because I wouldn't know how to say those words just on first glance. So that was good.
All right. Well, let me add a couple of comments. I'll start with the beginning and the end. Those are two places where I had little problems. You basically start with your thesis statement instead of your story. You've got it backwards. You want to start with the story. You maybe wondered what that smell is when you go into the hairdresser, and I always did those kinds of things, and I thought about that kind of thing, and then tell us what the topic is. You kind of do it backwards, and so it's a little bit less interesting as a result. And at the end, you've got a pretty good summary line, but the way you deliver it, it comes across a little flat. We're going to work on delivery on the next round of speeches, so this is not a big deal. But you have to then tell everybody that the speech is done. You've got that tagline on there, and that's it. We shouldn't get to that point. It should be pretty clear from the summary that you give us that the speech is done and everybody knows that it's done. And I think that you had a good sentence to do that. It just wasn't delivered the way it would be most effective at conveying that. All right, those are minor quibbles. For the most part, I thought the speech was really solid. You had a very clear organizational structure that you're following. It's topical. You're talking about the three kinds of hair dye problems or risks that people face. I didn't get a lot of supporting citations on the first two types. On the third type, that seemed like that's where all of your information was. You had a study and you had something else. On the second one, you had an example, which was a good example, and I liked those examples that you had. Plus, you had the visual on it, maybe a citation for the example. On the first one, I didn't really hear any supporting material, so it needs to be distributed a little bit more. But organizationally, it was easy to follow. You had pretty good signposts. I kind of agree with Carissa. I appreciate the effort that you made to get the pronunciation correct on those things. That always helps. And I thought that you did a nice job with the visuals. There was a little bit of awkwardness trying to get things started, and that's just trying to make the mechanics work. Once you got the mechanics going, everything is shown at appropriate times. It's not distracting. You don't have too much. They're illustrating the point that you're talking about, I thought, very effectively. That first one with the close-up of the hair that had been dyed and undyed makes it very clear the kinds of damage that you're talking about on the first point. And then on the second image with the... I had a little trouble seeing the woman's thinner hair. I suppose it was maybe easier for other people. Maybe I just don't notice those things as much. But on the allergic reaction one, you could see in the two images how different the woman looked, and kind of the eyes swollen closed practically. And I thought that was an interesting ability, way of visualizing that. So you had some good visuals integrated into speech well. So most of the stuff you did was fine. Like I said, a little quibble about the beginning and the end, and maybe get some citation in earlier parts of the speech. All right, thank you.